Foxy's story brought back many memories, and her childhood reminds me so much of mine. Even though there are great differences, I find common ground in the memories made. From kindergarten to senior year, I moved many times due to my dad's job in the military. Moving along the East Coast brought many great experiences and new interactions, and overall shaped me into the person I am today. In contrast to Foxy, I do remember every second of my childhood, whereas she said she doesn't remember much before moving to her grandparents. But as much as I moved, I did have one place that I could always call my home, which was my grandparents' house. This is where Foxy and I have a similar story. Some of her greatest memories were made at our grandparents' house. Going to their house brought so much excitement every time. Their house wasn't on 20 acres like Foxy's were, but they had a cozy little house with a big backyard and a plethora of memories waiting to happen. Foxy talks about a memory where she and her sister went on this adventure at their grandparents' house. Reading that story made me think of my favorite memory. Whenever my brother Andrew and I would spend the weekend at their house, our two cousins would come sleep over as well. That time was the greatest bonding experience. Our weekend would consist of watching movies, playing outside, and eating plenty of food cooked by our grandma. The best part of visiting was that my grandpa used to be a truck driver for the baked goods company Entenmann's. Every time we came, he would drive the truck to the house and come let us get in the truck and pick out whatever we wanted. We also always looked forward to going outside and playing all day, but when the winter months came, the memories were even greater. We would spend our days watching movies, playing board games, and Grandma's VHS collection was no joke. The all-time best part of going to Grandma's was gathering around the table for meals. Being that my grandma and grandpa used to have a restaurant, their cooking was always spectacular. We don't know how they made it so good, but Grandma and Grandpa's food is a legendary staple in our family. Our favorite was her chocolate chip cookies. My cousin and I would always help her make them, and we never knew what made them so good, until one day we saw her put crushed up honey Teddy Grahams in the batter. Grandma always had little tricks up her sleeve. Along with all the tricks she also had lots of stories and wisdom to tell us, just like how Foxy's grandfather did. Her love, words, and encouragement was something you could never buy. I will always remember her sitting with us and telling us funny stories about life and just things that we would always learn from. So many life lessons were learned at Grandma's, but the major one was happiness. She even went out of her way to get a puppy for me, and she has been one of the greatest gifts I've ever received. Going to her house made you forget about everything. We were all just truly happy there. And that seems to be the message Foxy relays in her writing. Her memories were all about happiness and good times, which is something I experienced firsthand as well. Another story that will always stick with me is all the funny stories my grandma would tell me about our family. From her mother, my great-grandmother, to my uncles and dad, it was great to learn more about tradition and culture. She would tell us how as a child, dinner was always a family meal eaten at the table, and that's something she made a habit to do once she had kids. Now my dad has always made sure we eat dinner as a family, and that's something I plan to do when I have children as well. Something so simple as eating dinner together is something that can create the greatest memories. The bonds we've had over dinner are irreplaceable. Tradition and heritage were important aspects to Foxy's grandfather as well as my family. It's